I've never been somebody who has made too much noise on social media. For those who have been following me for years, I've clearly never cared about things that others should. I haven't been someone who cared a lot about views. I've never been the type of person to appear perfect either. And that tends to backfire because the stuff I share, y'all already got a lot of things going on with your life. Like, imagine listening to me talking about miserable things like having dreams of homicide, like the afterlife, depression, running away, and finally, the self destruction that I went through. It's worth noting that oftentimes putting things on social media amplifies at the negativity that comes from a situation. People online don't like to look at the brighter side of things because that's internet culture. You ever see somebody or read something online, especially Reddit is the worst with this. If you go to any sort of relationship advice subreddit, these people will just jump to the extreme of negativity about something. They will turn the smallest pet peeve and incidents to like, you guys should get a divorce. Like, dude, like, forget it. Dude, like, well, he forgot the empty teapot with the tea bags and you're suggesting they break up or get divorced. This is why I try my best to not rant to other people about my relationship, because if you ever had a friend complain about their girlfriend or boyfriend, they're naturally going to be on your side. They're like, you're naturally going to look at things from their bias. There's no context unless you push that aside. People who usually rant about how someone treated them, they don't always tell both sides. And if they do, they make it sound very trivial about their own part in something. The psychological term is called self-serving bias. Like, people will only tell you the part of a story that makes them look better. A very manipulative but common tactic that most people simply do because why out yourself like that? Look, you guys asked me about like bring back the storytime videos that I deleted. I don't want to risk any sort of issues with my social worker and the psychiatrist again. Yeah, last video was me talking about a homicidal dream I had. But mind you, I've been heavily medicated the past month. And one of the meds specifically is known to cause extreme dreams. Someone saw from the thumbnail, like, you see the meds in my thumbnail. Like, I'm not the only person who experiences like this sort of like extreme dream things that are going on when you take one of those meds there. Listen, look, my point is, the issue with me telling story times is that I never told my stories in the same way that other people would do so. You hear people on the internet tell a story about something that happened in real life, allegedly, that never mention the things they did wrong. And if they do, it's barely part of the story. I don't watch YouTubers like that or any personalities. But I do remember I was waiting for my next class to start. I was in the car. I was just waiting for the next class to start in the parking lot. And I was just bored out my mind. And some video popped up, right? And this guy was like, in the YouTube video, this guy is like, story time, how we fought off a bully. So yeah, me and my friends, we stopped this bully for hurting our best friend. Oh my God, look at this. I'm gonna edit my video so my voice is all chopped up and I'm all over the freaking screen for some reason. Like, bro, like, what's with this? Like, yo, why are you so energetic for telling this story here? But sure, you helped beat up a bully. Sounds good. Clap it up. Yeah, but did you mention the part where you pushed this quote bully too far to now he's a bully because he's upset you kept making fun of him? Which they mentioned in that video. They said, and nobody's mentioning this in the comment section though. So you guys ganged up on somebody who you labeled a bully for content and beat him up, even though you guys were the ones making fun of him and giving him the villain arc. You see, if someone keeps picking on you, right? Let's say someone keeps picking on you and making fun of you. And then all of a sudden, now you want to defend yourself. Are you a bully? Well, apparently to everyone watching the video, I guess I'm the only person seeing that. I don't understand. Like, maybe they were deleting content. I don't know. Look, this is what people do online when they tell you their stories. Going back to Reddit, the people posting their relationship issues do that too. Stop and think for a moment. Why would someone whatever is going on in the story, why would someone do that to this person? Like, it seems so random and extreme. Like, are you guys like all like engaged or married to psychopaths? Like, you know what I'm saying? Not everyone on this planet randomly does stuff with no motivation or reaction. There's usually a cause to it. My point is, when I would go do my story times, and tell me if I'm lying here, people, at least 3/4 of those story time videos, I looked like a terrible person. Some of it was funny though, right? But like, damn, Aku, why you did that for? Damn, Aku, was that why? Really, why you gotta tell us about that? And at the end of my videos though, I would be very remorseful, and I would pretty much beat myself up for my past behaviors because I'm not proud of who I was, right? And like that's what makes me so remorseful for those videos. And I share those topics to show you, like, listen, again, I'm not perfect, but I'll tell you guys both sides. And I've seen people try to use that against me. They're like, cool, but 8 years ago you talked about you talked about in the video 8 years ago you were doing this and that. But okay, but you know, I'm not 13 years old. You know, you talking about stuff I did when I was like 12 or 13 years old. You really gonna hold me up to that? I'm gonna be 30 years old in like a few years, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the type of thing that people do. You see what I'm talking about, where they amplify negativity? And listen, all you can do about the past is reflect and grow. I share stories to help you understand. I've grown so much, and it's really hard to keep bettering myself, you know? I know I'm going on a tangent, by the way. I still do have moments of self-serving bias. Of course, like right now is an example of this, that self-serving bias. I'm presenting myself in a favorable manner despite mentioning I haven't been the best person in the past as like a kid or like a young adult. You may empathize with me or sympathize, and now you feel positive about it, that someone's being transparent with you. And that's okay if you do. Forgiveness and understanding is a powerful tool. Being transparent with one another is also a powerful tool. If all of us pull the curtains back on our lives, we see many different things, right? And this is one of the tough things about like breakups, for example. The common issue is that this self-serving bias is a way for people to build their own self-esteem up. If they mention in every situation they were in a relationship that they were the victims, which is very possible, but some people, they be the aggressors and then push people, and then suddenly pure victimhood whenever they talk about the relationship in the future. They mention everything bad about their ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend, what they did, but mention nothing bad they did. They are surely an angel, right? Because I don't know a single person on this planet who's ever met an e-girl called Angel on the internet who actually acts like an angel, or anybody whose name is Angel just in general act like an angel. I seen the same thing with Jesus, bro. Like, you know, some people just call you straight Jesus. That's what your name, like, that's what your name looks like, it's spelled like. You know, I've never seen, in my school at least, all the Jesuses were bad kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's always a paradox with that stuff. You know, look, I've been in relationships where I've done wrong. I've been in relationships where I've been done wrong. There was this one relationship where I was completely done wrong, and I have a genuine distaste for this lady to this day. And completely done wrong. Listen, I say that I did some things that were both selfish for both of us, right? Like, she cheated on her ex-boyfriend to be with me. I was aware of that. I let it happen. I was being selfish. She was being selfish. But even though we were both selfish, I can't control like what I can't control her. I can't sit there and lecture for the rest of her life about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I could control what I can control. I can't want it more for you than you want it more for yourself. I got to take accountability for my own selfishness in that part. I'm extremely in distaste for her because of the other things she did in that relationship, but I can't play victim here when we broke up years upon years ago. And listen, you know why I couldn't play victim years upon years ago when we broke up, though? I felt betrayed. But the girl who cheats on her boyfriend betrays people? Cool. You know, like, duh. I saw that coming, but I'm I put trust into somebody. You know what I'm saying? Why I don't know why I did that. But since I felt betrayed, I felt victimhood. And all I can do at that time period was say negative things about her. But here's the lesson learned. Next time, Aku, you can say she should respect her home relationship, right? But I should have kept that relationship alone as well. Yeah, I stole his girl. Okay, in many cultures that's like a thumbs up to people, and you just call her a thought. But I saw the disadvantage with that later on. I saw that come to bite me back. That's like a karma flip. Many other friendships and relationships have sort of been that way. I had a conversation the other day with an old friend of mine. This friend and I, we didn't speak for like 5 years, and we split apart. We would fight a lot because he was on meds, and it aggravated me. And that it aggravated me that the medication was making, he wasn't the same person. He was self-destructive, and this isn't who I was friends with. He was very cold at times. He was also very emotional at times too. He was extremely frustrating for me to be around, and it hurt me because I'm a helper type of friend. If you need something, I got you. Yo, 5 years later, when I'm currently going through my own thing, like I shared with you guys already, this guy DMs me on Instagram talking about, yo, this is actually very scary, Aku. I just randomly thought about what you were doing, bro. I was wondering, like, yo, so I just looked up your YouTube and I saw your video about the things you're going through. Like, let me be here for you, man. Let's start talking again. I'm like, what? But he said that's scary. I thought that was kind of scary too. So, hey, listen. And we've been very close for the past few weeks. That's like a full circle moment. You try to help someone, and even though things didn't work out, they remembered it. And but I told him this. I apologized to him. I said, hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being insensitive and being a jerk while you were going through your own problems. As a man, I could be mad at you for all the things that you did 5 years ago that made me unhappy. But you know what? The things I did wrong didn't help. I think the saying is, life is 90% how you react to things and 10% what you do. I wasn't reacting well to how he was. That didn't help his situation. But it was always me trying to be there, but I would explode in anger or stress. That ain't it. I can't just highlight his behavior and then downplay mine. I understand it's very difficult with friendships and relationships and breakups that when you have a lot to get off your chest, you don't look for feedback. You look for people to just listen. I get it. But just realize it's more about what you did. How did you react? In neurology, there's a theory that I actually do believe to be true. It's called the theory of reconstructive memory. I don't know why it's still considered a theory. I think it's neurology at this point, but whatever. Hear me out, right? There's called reconstructive memory, which is essentially that the memories you have are not ever exactly a replica of the past events. And you may think it is. You may think that the memories you can replay in your brain right now are exactly how you pictured it at that time, exactly what you saw. But we have so many cognitive functions in our brain, like imagination, perception, beliefs, and any other sort of memory traces that memories in which we store, they begin to form misinformation. Like looking back, even small details. Proof of this is thinking of an old memory. Really think of a really old memory. All of a sudden, that really old memory has many errors in it. Not like Gary's Mod, if you ever played that game. It's like the memories are just not correct. Stress and anxiety can cause this as well. You ever seen TV shows? Because this also happens in real life as well, by the way, and that's not sarcasm. But you You ever been a victim, or you ever seen a TV show and someone's a victim to a crime, and then they had to like speak to detectives? Then all of a sudden, like your memory is shot right now, or you start saying details that you know aren't 100% correct. Like, you know it's not correct, but you don't. All of a sudden, you just don't remember a traumatic situation as well as you visually saw it. Rather, you might even twist some of the details around. Now, where am I going with this? Remember what causes this theory to be true. Reconstructive memory, perception, beliefs, motivations, imagination. Now think about how that plays in your memories with somebody who you had a deep connection with. That can make you feel obsessed. That can make you feel colder to someone. It can make you, listen, it can even recreate memories in your head about an experience you had with them. And it's really sad because you can reconstruct memories to the point of not recognizing the greater good. Because anyone here who has been through a breakup or lost a close friend, whenever it's discussed, is commonly focused on what went wrong rather than what did good. What about the parts where you two were hanging around and things were going great? We just suddenly forgot about that. We don't think about it as much. We're impacted by something so emotionally damaging. It is not a surprise that you reconstruct your memories to emphasize the negative. This is why it's important to try your best to always show love to people, even when you're experiencing them not being nice to you or they hurt you. That will genuinely break people, seeing you showing love still, because all the love you've shown, it's hard for someone to reconstruct their memories to negative things when there's so much love to move out the way. When I mentioned my friend from earlier that I recently spoke to again, I cared about that friend so much. I still care about him. We grew more. We can push things to the side now about, oh, like I said, I was insensitive. He said he was sorry for the way he was too. This person blowing this horn like crazy outside this house right now. This is what happens when you be living in the hood sometimes. You know, people from the hood be coming over here and start doing some wild stuff, be fighting in the streets. But anyway, you know, see, now I'm throwing off track here. But listen, speaking of people being mad, we can push things aside as grown men because we're not mad at each other anymore. Now all those negative things, we can think about the positives, you know? Those were those memories. Like, we remember watching Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds together. We remember, like, we can remember all those good moments, right? This is what makes time important. Emotional damage takes time to heal. It always does. Even when you say you forgive somebody, it's going to take time. Breakups filled with damage. But once it's healed, the better memories start returning. This is why you see these couples or even friends start talking to each other again. Like my point case example. There's a difference between saying you forgive someone versus genuinely having the feeling to forgive. It's longer for some people depending on how much different stages of emotions are involved. You know, it's not, breakups aren't just about sadness. It could be anger. It could be regret. Can you truly forgive them? Can you truly forgive yourself? Going back to the importance of time. The timeline of rekindling is a true testament of maturity. I am so bad at this, by the way, myself. I am not a space type of person. If I'm hurt, I'm still going to be right next to you the whole time. I don't really do this. I need space. You know, I don't really do it like that. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's just not my type of thing. That has tarnished, though, some important friendships and relationships I've had. But when I do learn to give space, or when I actually am able to set that boundary for myself, like, I feel like in the future, at least, thinking back, I can look at things better. You know, so many times I've had friendships and relationships where I've hung on to certain people still, despite them not being too happy with me, or I'm not really happy with them. But then again, as I finally put the barrier up and I'm like, yeah, I'm not even gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even gonna stick by this person because they're hurting me too much. Later on, when my emotions start to settle, I'm like, oh, I kind of see certain things now in a much clearer light. You know, I even think more positive about our experiences together. Like even with the girl that I mentioned earlier, the cheating girlfriend, like I could even think of those positive experiences together. But I could think of the negative too, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing's ever truly positive or negative, right? I'm just able to rationalize it now. So there's just so much individual growth and healing since that relationship that the best part of rekindling with a friend or a lover after a fight is the resilience y'all start to build. It's weird. I'm not saying fighting is good, but sometimes after fighting, y'all feel stronger. After some time to yourself, you feel like you can stand on your feet again. And honestly, I'm just talking about this thing here, this exact thing here that I struggle with the most, right? It says time is a struggle for me. When I get attached to somebody, I get really attached. Like, really. It's unhealthy attachments. And I start to crumble as an individual. I lose my sense of individuality. And it's never even romantic either. Like, I'll just have a friend that I'm like really attached to. You know what I'm saying? And I don't give myself the time to truly recover. Instead, I'm not living my own life. I'm waiting for whoever I'm attached to also be there with me while I live my own life, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure some of you may understand. I know it's not healthy, obviously, but everyone heals at a different pace and it's done uniquely. We have to give time the credit it deserves for being a teacher. Through all the diversity and struggle we've all been through the past 12 months, think about how much you healed and learned from your pain. I feel like in my strongest moments, let's just say these past 12 months, my strongest moments, I didn't need validation or approval. I just did it because it was best for me. I knew it was the right decision. I don't want to let an unhealthy attachment consume me anymore as much as it used to do. Listen, I'm not completely against it either, you know. Listen, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I still very much adore attachment, but I'm not going to let someone be the complete center of my life. Does that make sense? Nobody else will ever be the center of my life anymore besides me. You can be anywhere else around me. You can be very close to the center. Just me. And I'm going to say this from experience, from the past relationships. When I let someone be the center of my relationship or our relationship, let me just stop saying it's our relationship and, you know what I'm saying, my life. It's not about how you suddenly forget to take care of yourself, bro. It's not like you still eat, you still shower, hopefully. You do all the necessities, but that's it. You just do the necessities. You stunt your own growth as a person because you're so dependent on somebody to complete whatever you still want to validate. Nothing gets done without their thumbs up first or whatever you got going on, whatever they got going on. I gotta take time to take care of my own problems. I can't just sit there and take care of their problems. What about me? What about my ambitions? What about my hobbies and interests? You ever abandon your own hobbies because you want to be liked by someone else so much? You ever pick up a hobby because you wanted to be liked by someone so much? Listen, I've been done. I've been there. I've done that. You know what I'm saying? You can suggest it. I might consider it, whatever hobby or interest, but I ain't gonna abandon my interests and joys just for anyone else anymore. Call me selfish, right? You can feel free to do so, but I'm the center now. And that's what I got to do to live things through. This is also one of the consequences of moving too fast in life. I'm a very 0 to 100 type of person. Everything got to be a million miles per hour with me. I'm I'm been a very anxious person in the past, and that even happens in friendships and relationships. The problems with rushing into friendships or relationships is that you might become quickly attached and then overinvest your emotions. Or, and this one you see it happen all the time, because you rushed in because you're so infatuated and excited to be with someone or around someone. You overlook the incapable. Well, I actually want to say incapabilities, incompatibilities, right? You overlook it because you're so excited and infatuated with somebody. You overlook the long-term goals, things that will become a problem later. You do not care to encounter them. You're not even thinking about it, and this can be due to many different reasons. Besides infatuation, you might feel lonely. Yeah, like, you ever start talking to somebody new and you like them very much and y'all just don't work out? The honeymoon phase breakup? That be hurting the most. But loneliness can cause you to rush into relationships. And this is something that I never truly experienced as much, but I seen it happen to someone I know. But their fear of being lonely makes them rush quickly into dating somebody or get into a relationship in which they don't even care about the incompatibilities. They care about having just a partner. And then this makes things worse, because whatever the reason might be for someone to do fast relationships or rush into things, you never get the full solid understanding of someone's way of communication or how they resolve conflicts. Oftentimes, arguments are caused by misunderstandings or not understanding someone's way of communication, which I guess is a misunderstanding, right? How someone may handle their conflict also may be unique and new to you still, which leads to further poor communication and instability. If I don't understand how you deal with your problems and it's like all new to me, how do you expect me to react? Not everyone's going to react the same, you know what I'm saying? And it may sound profound and likely not to be followed by many who don't live like this, such as myself in historical cases. But I think some basic understanding of one another can be a good foundation of shared values. Spending so much time together with someone else, you begin to understand their habits, personality, preferences. And then if the feeling is mutual, you two can discuss how to find resolve in the case that there is an incompatibility, you know? There's also a lot of things I don't like about how some of the closest people to me act, right? Some things that the close people to me do. But we do have a compromise to this, or we just don't fight. You know what I'm saying? Or make it a problem. It's a mutual understanding after getting to know each other after long periods of time, I guess, right? So I said that so negatively. That's what I'm thinking about right now. Like, yes, there are things I don't like about many people. Okay, like, but I'm not gonna crash out. I'm not gonna make it a scene. You know, it doesn't make me. These things don't make me mad anymore. It's just that's them, whatever. But that's what keeps the friendships going. They do the same thing to me. Like, of course, they don't like things I do. They be like, all right, or just be like, my bad. It's nice to get that in a relationship too. Just a simple, sorry, I didn't mean to say that, or anything of the sort. It's just a simple sentence that can truly keep things going. The final thing I actually do want to touch on is about letting go of things. Probably one of the hardest things to do, especially when it comes to breakups. Before I wrap this episode up, my friend, his wife's mother, I think, sister or mother, I don't remember. They were put in the hospital recently and they're on life support right now. The thing is, this person has been ill for many months. And my friend told us that, hey, listen, they're on life support. It's likely going to be the final days for her. And then he said something very interesting. He said, God knows what he's doing. And he's a very religious guy, very religious. There's nothing wrong with that, because there are many different versions of what he's saying too. For the sake of this conversation, you can say the universe knows what it's doing, many different ways. Eastern religions say their own version of that. In Buddhism, there's this one teaching. There's a line that goes, all conditioned things are impermanent. All conditioned things are impermanent. But anyway, when he said God knows what he's doing when talking about the sick mother or sister, it kind of rang a little alarm in my head about just letting things go. Support the best you can, but whatever happens in life, that's what it is. This is the same way to look at it from that Buddhist perspective about impermanence. Again, all conditioned things are impermanent. My interpretation is every circumstance in life is capable of being detached from. Why? Once you detach from a situation, you accept fate. Not in a defeated way, but in a way where it doesn't create turmoil in your consciousness. A job, friendship, relationship, everything can be replaced, let go of. Memories won't disappear, but it can be left behind and moved on from if it's causing too much hurt for you. In my life, there are many things I hold on to from the past that make me angry, or hit my self-esteem, or give me sorrow. And I will forever still be attached to it in some way. But if I can live the most in the present moment instead of anxiously waiting for time to do what it does best, like we talked about, then I could see myself in peace. All conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. This is the path to purification. This episode is also on Spotify, as well as the outro. Watch the sun bleed. It's our time to go out while we watch the sun down. Watch the sun down. Watch the sun down. Watch the sun down, down, down. I got what I asked for, but I think it's never mine. We try to shine our own way, but the stars are not aligned. Laser on the heat, best bet you better hide. Said to do what's best, now my thoughts are on decline. Take a trip with me, we can share confessions. What's next for us? That's a loaded question. You go first, you have the best expressions. I'm looking up now, I see a dark sky heaven. Watch the sun bleed, it's our time to go out while we watch the sun down. Silent guy, forever peace, now there's no doubt. While we watch the sun down, fears or hopes are gone, we don't know what that's about. While we watch the